This is Brandon from NODNARB'S CLOSET, also EDAW'S End. And today I have, and correct me if I'm wrong, Veronica, Florescentia grotesque?
I can't say it myself, it's Latin. Florescentia.grotesque.
Yeah, and I can't read, so we're fully on board there.
Yeah.
Today I'm going to do a little bit of a gush at the very beginning. I told you before how I found out about your work firsthand, and that was in 2023 whenever we did Smash Bash, and I paid attention to you and Baharath. I was just getting into the hobby, and I did not know what the fuck I was looking at. I think that there's a lot of art in this hobby, but whenever I looked at your shit, I'm assuming that you were an art major of some kind.
Yeah, I went to art school and I studied to be an art teacher as well. But it's
excellent.
Always been there. So that's how I started in the
I think a lot of us kind of started in that general direction. I went to art school and I was a kid and thought that smoking weed was more important than going to school. So I didn't quite make it all the way. I passed a few classes and then failed a few others, probably the early morning ones. But yeah, I think that's, it shows in your work. The 2023 entry that you added, I know that this past year, was it the doll? Duh, I know what it was. It was the fucking baby. Yeah. Wow. Like what? What inspired that?
A lot of things. If we talk about what the going to art school and stuff, when I was a kid, I didn't get any grades in art because I was very, I don't know, all over the place, and I didn't like my art teacher back then, and she was like, you need to do this and this and this, and I don't do anything if I don't know why I'm going to do it, and she hated the work I did. And she hated it so much, so I even had to go to the principal because she thought I did horrendous stuff. So I didn't get any grades. So I studied art when I was adult later on. But I always loved creating. So that doll, it was like, I've been to the Smash Bash competition the year before, and I made those lovebirds with the eggs and zombies and stuff. And I started to get a taste of it, to create without any rules. But I also had become more involved in the hobby community, and I saw the good part and the 28 scene, of course. But I also saw the other side where women doesn't get it can be pretty horrible to be a woman in the hobby.
For sure, so
everything started about someone told me I wasn't supposed to make war figures. I should stick to the dollhouse dolls and Barbies. And I'm like, well, I do any scale I want to, and I do everything in the same time if I want to. So it was like a effect on me when people say I can't, I need to do everything, and don't tell me what to do, I do everything in the same time. So the first idea was the little throne, the golden throne with the empress in the middle. It was like a Warhammer flirt with the golden throne and the emperor, but in this case the empress that had kicked down the emperor and used him as a footstool, and all the custodians in the lead, they get
which would probably be better in general and anyways in our real life.
So it started like that, but then I figured out how to express a human behavior in a landscape or in a house, and how to show who I am and how I think as an artist and as a person. And I started to play with those things, like the squirrel in the head that spins in a wheel, and life and death and stuff like that. So I just let go and went bananas.
Isn't there a baker in that piece?
Yeah.
Like a chef?
Yeah, and he makes a soup out of a head from a guillotine of a custodians. Yeah. So that's the stomach part. How you process everything.
And I have to be honest with you, like I think that's probably, I mean, it was hands down, I'm not trying to kiss your ass or anything, that was hands down my favorite piece of the year. Just because, I mean, to even like put the clasp on each body part and to make sure that those were all, I don't know, man. That it's mind blowing that you said that your teacher said that she had rules in art. Like that's not what art is. That's mind blowing to me. But that is very much an old person type thing to say. Like, well, you have to do this or
it is,
and there's
but
no
in the
logical reason.
In the same time, those rules, you see them everywhere, and I see them in the community. And when you make an empress, people get upset. In everything you do, people but you can't do that and also that. You need to stick in a folder, and I can't do that. I need to, the story I want to tell have to different techniques and different things to do in different stories. So you can't stick with one box.
So what you're saying, Veronica, is that you're a real person that wants to make art.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so mind blowing to me that somebody would ever be pissed off at anything that it's mind blowing that this community is even affected by that type of like sexist behavior. It's a welcoming community, but I can't imagine what it would be like as a female. I mean, I've talked to my really good friend, Senorita Imp. By the way, congratulations on the wedding.
Yeah, I saw that.
Newly
She's
found
awesome.
marriage. Yeah, she said the same thing. It sucks because you don't see it. If you're a decent human being that happens to be a male, you don't really see it unless you go through the fucking shitty comments. But I think that's just a problem in general with the world. We could just use that guillotine on them.
But I think I try to when I talk to students or my own kids that are teenagers now, and I think all this gatekeeping or the way to box everything in to feel safe is like a human behavior. Everyone wants to sit inside a cave and feel safe, and that's something people should be allowed to do, but someone needs to teach them to think and reflect, and that there are different caves and they can be open and everyone could join in, and it's not dangerous because we are smarter than our brain is. So the human behavior kind of thing where you need to feel safe, we need to go beyond that and educate ourselves to feel safe in the bigger cave. We are all human and we have different way of expressing ourselves.
We just supposed to treat people with human decency?
Yeah, it's crazy. I know.
Honestly, you have a very optimistic view of it. I think that they should go deeper into a separate part of the cave where they just go and reside for the rest of their lives away from the rest of us. And because it's a lot of people are stuck in their own ways.
They are.
I want to be hopeful. I wish that we could all coexist, but I'm also in a country that has Donald Trump. So it's pretty hard. It's pretty difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally understand, and I agree with you. I think it's
Bill Ford. He and the 28 community, they did the Women's Appreciation issue, which was fantastic. I think there needs to be more of it. And to be honest with you, part of me just wants to get rid of all the men. But I've related more to women in my life than I have men, and I don't understand why people think that their values are important or that they think that they're cool. But
Yeah. I think they are so
realize that
stuck
we were going
in
to talk about
a
politics.
way they have. No, politics is in everything. Politics is a way to feel safe and to be able to create and everything. So it's stuck together. I've heard when I can be very political or talk about emotions and mental health and stuff on my page, and people like, oh, you can't write that because your page is only for miniatures, and I'm like, yeah, I it's my page and you're allowed to go in and go out if you want to, but it's the same thing. They want to, I don't know, but they are scared. They want their little world and their little box to feel safe, and I can feel for them. I feel sorry for them, and I want to like, here's a book, go read, and I want to like pet them on the head and like, please,
and also kick them in the ass.
Yeah, pet them on the head and kick them in the ass. But it's very much goes together, and when you make art and miniatures and everything is politic and ideas, and it's fused together, so it's hard to not talk about it. And on Instagram, on your own page, you can do like whatever, and the ones that doesn't want to be there can go somewhere else.
Well, it was bound to happen that
simple.
You and I, it was bound to happen. And I'm sorry, there's a little bit of a lag. I'm not trying to cut you off. It's bound. It was bound in time and the whole world that we finally have a talk, because I tie politics very closely to my page, and the excuse of, well, this is a getaway from all the serious stuff. I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
I think that's fine if people want to do that, but I choose not to. And I'm sure I've lost. I mean, I saw a dip in follows and likes and shit like that whenever I started putting up pro-Palestine stuff. But fuck them. I don't give a shit. This is what I'm not going to appease other people. So I'm glad that you feel the same way, because hey, I make a tiny amount of money from this, but that's not why I do it. This is fully an expression of exactly who I am. So yeah, I can get behind that full-heartedly. I think that politics, I agree that it's definitely in everything and something that we should be all conscious of. Because it's our everyday life.
Exactly, I totally agree.
Well, what I know that you and I were talking about earlier, you do play a little bit of wargaming. Do you want to tell me about the Swedish? You said it was a Swedish game called Mutant.
Yeah, Mutant. It's Swedish roleplay, and we use the rules for it. I've played Mutant too, as it should be played, but we use the rules to have our own game that is based on the Metro books by Dmitry Glukovsky, the apocalyptic books about the metro station in Russia, and they live down there, and there is a lot of monsters and stuff. So we played the same game.
I'm always obsessed with the game, so
yeah, and we played this role play for, I don't know, 5 or 6, 7 years. I don't know. 2017. Yeah, 7 years. So it's really grown into a. I mean, there is. It's very far beyond anything else I've done. It's an entire world, and so it's really cool. When we had been playing for 5 years. I built an apocalyptic bar in our garden, our carport, to have a party, and we like had a big dinner with cans of food and was dressed up as apocalyptic warriors in the metro station.
Awesome.
And it's like, yeah, it's very big, and it's so lovely because I didn't play role play as a kid, because I grew up out in the forest, and because I was a girl, I couldn't be in the boys crew that played. So I was over 30 first time I was invited to a game, and before that I only I didn't know about anything. But when I look back, I made maps and I created stories and worlds and games. So I already did it without knowing that it was something like roleplay existing. So it was so big when I started to play, and it's a big part of my life now. So
yeah, no, most definitely. I mean, whenever you said that you grew up in the forest, that would be the equivalent for an American saying that they grow up in the country.
yeah,
But I did picture you in a Mowgli from Jungle Book situation where you were just you grew up on your own with the animals out in the forest, which is fantastic, and I'm only going to think that. So you can't prove it otherwise.
Okay.
I assume that you have no parents that you recognize as parents. Besides,
I grew up with ticks,
forest
only
creatures.
ticks. Yeah, I was raised by the ticks.
Hey,
Carried me around.
Fantastic. That is wild, and fucking it fully explains everything about your artwork and mine and multiple bolts. Fucking crazy. Yeah, no, I've never heard of Mutant. Is that how am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yeah, mutant. In Swedish, mutant, perfect. But in English, mutant. Yeah, it's same.
But I am aware of the Metro game. I knew that there were books, but I am aware of the video games, and I've obsessively played those over the years.
It's a really cool world. I can't figure out why they haven't made a role play about that world yet, or maybe there has been and I haven't seen it. But
yeah, you would think that they would, but I mean, you're doing it right, especially with a game with a name like that, because that's pretty much what the game is. It's basically Russian Fallout.
Yeah.
And it's East Europe.
The books are
Fallout.
really great. It's really, I love the books. So
yeah, I wish that I had read one to be able to comment on that, but
yeah, they are
I'm
really
illiterate.
Great. I think you would like them because they really have that like politic, like you need to be kind to everyone around and stuff. They have a good point in a apocalyptic packet, so it's great.
Oh, it's not communist, and it doesn't have to do with communism, treating them bad guys. Anyways, that's just the rest of my countrymen, minus all of the friends that we talk to online. But so this year, I saw, and I know I'm random, so I'm just throwing things at the wall here. I saw your Smash Bash for this year with the music box.
Yeah.
And the Toad. I fucking love it. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the inspiration behind that?
I mean, it's been a rough year because of the world, and I get very. It's hard to not get emotional, and it's been like, I don't know. You get afraid of everything, and you're like, I'm a tiny little dot down here in Sweden. I can't do so much, but I can feel it, and I can take it in as much as I can, and I can donate, and I can be very open where I stand in the matter of, and I can teach my kids how to think. So it's been a big part of me this year, and it has made it's kind of struggle to create war figures. And I thought so much about it, and I thought about the last year's the dollhouse and the birds before that, and how they were created. And then I thought the different scale of dolls and how it could represent big human smalls. Everyone is losers in a war. Everyone. Everything gets destroyed. So I wanted to make a big pile out of doll parts and all the different kind of scales, and how people say you can't play with war figures, you only need to play with Barbie dolls, and how people want to gatekeep everything, and I want to just smash them all and make a big pile and suffering. And then I wanted to not have a battle royale. I wanted to have I just wanted to cry about everything. But I wanted to add some hope. So the frog represents a new beginning or something new. So I wanted it to cry over the big pile while it sang a really sad song, and how the tears go down in the pile and something new can grow up, and it could be better. So it was very much affected of the world's matter right now.
I think honestly for me, I'm a very emotional person to begin with, but I agree with you. I mean, it's been probably, everybody was like, oh man, COVID was such a hard year. I mean, I just got to sit at home and paint miniatures. So, or sit at home and play video games, really. At that time, I wasn't painting yet. I think I don't know, who knows how to deal with this, right? Because up until now, we haven't seen the videos every day of kids being blown up. It happened before, but we were never exposed to it. It is very, and I'm not being poor, pitiful me, it is very difficult to see your country be a leading figure in someone else's death. And it's embarrassing. I lived in Italy for 4 years. I didn't get to go to Sweden. I went to Norway. Is the closest that I got, and then I flew into not Sweden, but anyways, Finland. But a lot of those countries up north had been beaten into our heads that they were communist and blah blah blah, fucking, and it's so, I know it's so goddamn stupid, but you are raised that way to put your hand over your heart and swear allegiance to your country at fucking 5 years old. It's looking back at it, it's apocalyptic already. It's insane to have children swear their allegiance to a country and then also swear their allegiance to some fucking religion that I don't subscribe to. So it's embarrassing as fuck. And it sucks because you get to, I have a lot of people from other countries that come on, or have had a lot of people from other countries come on here. And every single time that I talk, I always want to talk to you guys, but I always, it's always so fucking embarrassing. It's like, you don't know. And of course I care about what people think about me. Anybody who says that they don't, great. But I care.
But yeah, it's just there's so much fucking death in the world right now,
Yeah.
and I don't think that anybody can turn a blind eye anymore.
No.
I think
And
they'll be frowned upon.
yeah.
Later on in the future. I
think so too. I'm a history teacher as well, art and history. Right now, I don't work as a teacher, but I am a teacher. And when I went to school to be a teacher. We talked about history and how they teach history to kids in different countries. And there is different ways, like in Sweden and Norway. I don't know if Finland also have the same way of, like, the why you teach history. We have like this, what is it called in English? Like we learn about history to live today to make the future better. So we don't have any national, like Sweden is the best place on earth, because we learn about how the entire world and the history around the globe made it today. And we need to learn everything without a filter so we can do better tomorrow. I know like Denmark and Great Britain and America have the like history, like we need to teach the kid about how great our country is, and we are the main best one, and that's like, if you teach that to kids, they would think that they are like on top of the world, and and that's so wrong, because we are a globe and we are so many different people. So it's so important how you raise the kids and what you teach them, and that you do it without put makeup on history, because you need to teach them how it is so they can be better tomorrow. So yeah,
if somebody doesn't travel in their lifetime, it's sorry. It was kind of delay. I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm not a shitty
no
fucking okay. I just want to, from my experience traveling around the world, I mean, I've been to 3 different continents, and traveled around a bunch. I mean, I'm probably 25 countries. It's a different perspective. I never, to be honest with you, I never really thought that my country was great. I was always kind of into punk rock and shit like that. So it was very astonishing to my friends that I was to join the military. But I kept to myself as far as, like, I stayed myself, and I'm surprised I didn't get kicked out sooner because of how rebellious I was. But I thought if you really don't like something, how something's going, you have to see it for yourself, like blatantly. Now I'm getting out for reasons, and I am very happy to, because I can't be a part of this anymore either. Going to other countries is really eye-opening. Most Americans seems like a lot of them don't even go to another state.
No.
Much less another country, and they hate each other.
Yeah, and I feel like if you're not able to travel because of money, you can travel by books. I mean, or by social media. I mean, you have the world in the pocket right now, and it should be a positive things when you can meet people without putting money on it, because I mean, I feel like with this community and the hobby community, and I was talking about the bad comments, but in general, for me at least, the biggest part is very positive. And I really feel like when I talk to my friends around the world, that I have the world in my pocket, and I travel from my little forest. So there is ways to keep your mind open with books and travel, or the best way is to travel in flesh, but when you can't, this is a travel, a little podcast.
I love you said in flesh, like somebody else's flesh or your specific flesh. Yeah.
Pick and choose.
Yeah, whatever you want. Your heart, whatever your heart's desire is. Yeah, I did not. I'll be honest, and I'm very happy that it is. But I did not realize that this is what the talk was going to be about. But I'm very happy about it. Being here in Texas, soon Seattle, thank God. There are not many people to talk about this stuff with, so it's very sheltered, and you're surrounded by about 1 million churches, and a lot of hateful people somehow,
or small-minded, perhaps.
Yeah, they'll be here for the rest of their lives. No big deal. People always look for, and if anybody's religious out there, that I'm happy for you. I'm just as long as you don't hurt anybody else. But people are always searching for like something to make them a better person. When at least my inner voice tells me whenever something is wrong or right. And if I see that it's wrong, I speak up. I understand certain people don't have the voice to do that. And it's, I'm sorry. I wish they did. I think it would make things a little bit better, but there's a place for everybody.
And I think school has a big part of making it equal for everyone. That is I think like the school for when we talk about children, like from 5 to 16 years, I think this should be the same school for everyone, where everyone gets to play with each other, how they look and what their beliefs are and stuff like that. And if everyone see that they are children and they get the same ground to stand on, they have a better way of not be so afraid when they are older and choose their
I knew you were a
different
communist from
boxes.
the moment I saw you.
I'm not communist. I'm Swedish.
I know. No, I think if every single person acted like my kid at 3, now soon to be 4, towards other people, I think the world would be a better place. And meanwhile, the adults who have lived longer do not act like that.
No.
I always think back to. Normally, I would never say that a superhero movie was one of my favorite movies of all time, but Logan is one of my utmost favorite movies, period. Like, I've watched that probably 30, 40, 50 times, and I always think the first thought I think of is nothing really related with the actual story other than the Americans like cheering that they're number one out of a fucking limousine. It's fucking gross. Like, whenever especially I went to Italy, there was a little bit of fucking fascism there. It's a lot of fascism, actually. Whenever you have Mussolini's grandkids, they're still in office.
In Sweden too. Yeah, in Sweden too. Right now, there is a lot of right-wing extremist, fascist ideas that are hurting people. But it's starting to turn a little bit. I think. I hope. I think I see a little bit of change in the climate.
I hope
but
so.
In the same times, we are very like in Sweden. We are very much. Everyone has a distance between them and I don't know. We are.
Yeah.
It's very safe. It's very calm.
The distance between you? Are you talking about like more closed off from each other? And like, is that the culture is like more? This is my bubble.
Yeah,
stay out of
very much my bubble, and everyone is very mind. I mean, when COVID came and we were supposed to be having distance between us, we was like, yeah, that's how we do it all the time.
Yeah.
It's very like,
Yeah.
okay.
That's the
So,
same. It
yes,
feels like the same in Norway too. Whenever I went
yeah.
up there, everybody's just doing their own thing, which is
Yeah.
actually how I prefer it. A lot of people see it as like kind of closed off, but I see it as people minding their own fucking business. Like, and instead of like social media where it's like you were saying before that they're telling you what your page should be about. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know who the fuck you are, but see you later. Like, find somebody else
Exactly.
to berate.
Yeah.
That's sad,
But
man.
there's so many rules, and with social media, I mean, everyone wants to grow. I guess on social, like Instagram, I would love to have like 10,000 followers or even more. But I mean, I understand you need to stick with some rules and you need to know the invisible codes of, yeah. And I can't manage to both create art and to catch up what I need to do. I can't be my manager and the artist in the same way, and I can't focus on making content because I tried to do it and then it's like burned pancake off my head and I don't do anything at all. So I have just like relaxed about it all and I enjoy the community and I have a lot of great friends from it and I'm a slow grower but I focus on the art.
No, I think what you bring to it is definitely more of what we need in the hobby in general, because it's, whenever I came into the hobby, it was the most accepting community that I've been in, minus like metal. The metal community is pretty accepting. And but you don't get to hear about the bullshit as much and out in the open.
No.
Anybody that's a gatekeeper just should jump off a cliff. Nobody gives a fuck about you, and
No.
And your opinions if you want to stay that way. If you're not trying to grow every single day, you're probably a part of the problem. So for happy hour of of our talk right now, let's talk about a little bit of kindness. Kindness corner. So my producer Barrett, if you could you put a set the scene with Pennywise down in the sewers with the yellow raincoat. I need Larry David, his face to be on top of Pennywise's, and Seinfeld's on the little kid, because Seinfeld needs to be eaten. Nobody gives a fuck about your boomer opinions, and you only are awesome because of Larry David. You're a piece of shit. All right, so that's a little bit of kindness from my side. Has there been anything in the hobby? I front loaded you. You were the first person to ask questions about it at the very beginning, or start to think about something. Usually people wait till last second. No offense, guys, but you do. That's men for you. No, I'm joking. Is there any bit of kindness that you've seen in the community, or something you want to see in the future?
I think there is a lot of kindness everywhere, and a particular corner of the community that I feel I belong to, like the kit bashers and the 28th scene. I mean, I only met pretty beautiful, awesome people there. There is a lot of kindness in the hobby and the community, and the things that made me because I started painting Warhammer figures,
Right.
and I was very like in that box. But then I started to talk with Lawrence Barrett, the Cry of Old Paint, and he like introduced me to the other scene with the grimdark, and thought like, oh, your work should suit there and stuff. And then with Smash Bash is it's awesome. It's like so liberating, and that scene and to meet people in that community challenge is it's such a beautiful place to be in. And Lawrence said when I worked on the lovebirds and I started to make those tiny little zombies, and I showed him one, and I'm like, is this too bad to show? And he like, no. And I like, do people get does people going to be like upset or feel it's too much gore? And he like, no, just show it. So he made me brave enough to start showing that side that I love to work with. I love the grimdark. It's my like, I've made that kind of art always, and so I call it like playable art. So he pushed me to be more brave, and when I started to be more brave, people started to connect and talk with me, even if I'm a woman. And I made it's so strange. And I started to make friends and share similar thoughts. So I absolutely grow from that. To push out in the community.
I will say that your impression of Lawrence is perfect. No. Very.
So.
Yeah, Lawrence is. Like I said, you and Lawrence are the first time that that really got me into Smash Bash, and really got to showcase your work too, which was insane. I've talked to Lawrence already. I've been fortunate enough to be able to talk to a lot of people overseas that have a lot of talent, and YouTube being some of the best out there. I think that it does say something about the community, especially when most of us usually draw a lot of inspiration from mutilated things. I think it's all for us sick art kids out there, but it's great. I fucking love it, and I'll never stop doing it.
No, it's a beautiful part, and I turned 40 now in January, and I got to travel to London and meet Lawrence and
nice.
Ben. You talk from I can't pronounce the names. Everyone has a different strange names. Me too. Everyone. So a lot of the people I've talked to for years, I had to meet them in person, and it was so beautiful because everyone was the ones they are on screen. So I cherish that.
Eventually, I'll go over there and meet both of them in person. Ben's one of the funnier people that I know in my entire life. So
they're pretty awesome.
Hilarious. But Veronica, thank you very much. Is there anything else that you want to? I know that Smash Bash is coming out. The answers or the results are coming out soon. I don't really care about the competition much. I just want to see everybody's pieces. Honestly.
Yeah, I feel like you can only compete with yourself. I have like the idea I compete with myself from the last year and how I twist my mind and what I create. So and to make something with a deadline. I'm so hopefully bad at deadlines, and I always keep doing it in the end. So it's this part is. It would be fun to be in the top, but there is so many awesome things. So I competed with myself, and I won because I made the deadline, and that's what the competition for me was about, to get to the deadline. So
I said me too. Like, I'm always bad with deadlines. That was such a lie. I was done with both of my entries a month and a half before, and that's why it felt like forever to see the results. As soon as I heard about it, I was like, yep, I'm doing it. It's done. I just got to sit here and wait for even longer. It feels like months and months and months. But I I at least accomplished something with animal bones. So that's one of my bucket lists, and I finished it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to continue using bone because it's probably one of the best things to paint on, honestly.
They are awesome.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I got a whole closet full of bones over there now. So
Yeah.
not human,
I collect everything.
Yeah. No,
So-
hey, I'm into that too. I'm a hoarder for all of my bits and whatnot. So it's only going to get worse from here.
That's
but-
good. That's very good.
Yeah. Hey, is there anybody? We're gonna, of course, tag you in the post. But is there anything you want to say to everyone that might be listening? Like 2 people. I think it will probably be Tim from Howling Mad and maybe Bill.
I don't know. I mean,
Perfect.
now I get shy.
That's great.
In the end, I'm like, I don't know.
No, actually, we'll stop it right there. That's fantastic. It has been an extreme pleasure of mine to be able to do this podcast with you. I've been following you for a while now, and I think, hey, I don't know if I've ever seen any Warhammer. I guess in some of your, I'm going to shut up now. You have a great day. I hope it's a great rest of your night, and thanks again for talking.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and have a great day too.
Yeah.
Hey there, this is Barrett from the ATI Podcast here to talk about what we have going on the ATI Podcast Network. First, we'll start with Waxing On with R and J. The format of Waxing On with R and J is audible selections made exclusively by our hosts and brothers, Ridge Jackson and Jake Jackson. Waxing On with R and J is sure to tickle your inner eardrums with some of the most vile tones you've ever encountered, and conversely, ear candy with pop melodies, focusing on spotlighting underground and rising artists. Waxing On with R&J is another outlet of the ATI podcast community to bring awareness to many musicians' craft. Also found on the ATI Podcast Network, NODNARB'S Closet, hosted by Brandon Stewart of EDAW'S. NODNARB'S Closet is a wing of the ATI podcast programming that delves into the world of role-play games, miniature painting, diorama making, occasional pro wrestling match watch-alongs, providing commentary with a dash of jocularity and satire, and much, much more. Of course, leading the pack is the ATI Podcast. On the ATI Podcast, we episodically invite guests onto our show to spotlight their talents, whether that's musicians, filmmakers, artists, actors, businesses, even athletes. Nothing is off the table. The focus of the ATI Podcast and its collective creative arms, whether that's Waxing On with R and J or NODNARB'S Closet, is to bring awareness and focus to people's talents. Be sure to follow us across all traditional podcasting platforms, and for the full experience, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search the ATI Podcast. Stay safe out there.